Getro Man here. Hey, Rundown listeners, you can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. And Prime members can listen ad-free on Amazon Music. Getro Man, away!
Well, that was a blast from the past. That's one of the original commercials and side voices on the Kirk Minahan show. John, another week. We made it.
We made it, Sheldon. It was a good week. It was I thought it was a real who's who of guests. I think it was my favorite third chairs. Two blind mics, a Mutt, Steve from Gloucester, Whitney. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Well, we were expecting 4 shows this week starting Monday, and then Monday came and there wasn't a show because Kirk was still sick, and you're like, fuck, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of this week. And then all of a sudden we get Steve from Gloucester, we get Blind Mike, and we get Kirk, thinking he sounds like shit, but his voice sounded fine.
I thought he sounded fine. Yeah.
And then we had our 2 producers, and that was our first show of the week off of the first show of a banger first week, I might add. So from the first show, I mean, it was a pretty regular show, but your thoughts on Justin and Blind Mike killing a guy that wasn't really dead?
That was great. I love that. I love that they got it wrong, and then I love that the news broke that the man was still alive mid air. Like that was absolutely perfect. And the funny thing is, like, I was scrolling Twitter and I saw the tweet right before Kirk started reading it out loud. Like, hey, I'm getting notifications saying this guy's still alive. That was beautiful.
It was so funny there. Kirk's like this guy tweeted 2 hours ago. And Mike's like, well, I read the obituary. And then they read the obituary, and it's like he was a DJ who wanted to entertain his family. And everyone's like, and Kirk's like, what the fuck? You thought that meant it was him? Well, I didn't read that far. I thought Justin would have. Blind Mike just threw Justin under the bus. I thought he would have verified it.
Well, in Mike's defense, I mean, we all heard that obituary, and we're all like nodding along, going, "Yeah, it sounds like him. Sounds like a great guy."
God, that was unbelievable. And then, so it was a pretty regular show until then, and then all of a sudden, those 2 fucked up, and then and then they realized that the guy's still alive, and it just kept, Kirk shitting on Blind Mike and Justin, and Blind Mike owned it, so I'll give him that. But
it kind of felt a little nostalgic, Blind Mike getting shit on a little bit. Like, I know it wasn't anything all that serious, but I feel like Kirk doesn't shit on him all that much, so it kind of felt good to get see that again.
Oh, and he knows the flow of the show, what's going to happen. So,
right.
I mean, he rolled with the punches there. And then, I'll go ahead.
I was going to say, when that show aired, I don't know if I just had the schedule wrong, or maybe they didn't officially announce who was on it. Maybe I missed it, but I was fully expecting, when I saw the name Steve and Mike, I'm like, oh, reunion show. Like, we've got Big Steve today. When I turned on the fucking stream and I saw Steve from Gloucester sitting there with his arms folded, I almost fucking spit out my drink.
It's been a long time since I heard him on the show, and it was, I honestly, I miss the guy. Like he talks a lot. He's a talker. He's a paisan.
He's a paisan. But yeah, his hands were going wild in the show.
But when he started talking, I was like, God, I miss this. And it was perfect with him and Blind Mike. So it was a perfect pairing for him for the first show of the week.
And what I love about Mike is Mike will always bring up the pre-show chatter up on the air. And I thought it was funny when he was like, Steve from Gloucester had like a little tidbit for each of us, which is it's perfect, Steve,
Yeah, and then so his note for Coleman was about about BC basketball, and he's like, what?
Yeah, which that's perfect as well. Yeah.
So that's also like after the week of him pretending to be a giant sports fan, and then he had to stay in studio for 38 hours because he couldn't fucking think of Jim Tomei. But then he didn't have no idea about BC basketball playing. So it was just perfect. One other
thing I'll say on Steve is that, and I like Steve. My one criticism for him this week though was I don't think he brought as much as he normally did as far as like prepared material. Like, there was clearly a point where I feel like Kirk was trying to throw it to him and see what he had in his notes, and he didn't have much. Like, even the like in his notes, he had the Eric Carmen guy who passed away, but he clearly had no idea who the fuck he was. So you know that was just like a filler note. Like, I'll kind of throw this in. Maybe Kirk liked him, because the raspberry, like the fruit.
Yeah, when he's like, "Do you know who that was?" And Kirk's like, "Yeah, I know who it was." And then it was just dead. It's like, oh boy. It's
Yeah.
like, and then all I can think about, I was like, I was waiting for somebody to say, like, Eric Cartman died. How could he have died? Isn't that like South Park?
Yeah.
Because I'm convinced like Coleman doesn't know who the fuck that is, and actually Justin might not either. It doesn't really matter.
I had to look him up.
Unbelievable. Anyways, so like that leads us with last week into Monday. So we talked about Coleman, the stupid radio stations, ESPN, whoever, that just listen to Barstool and Barstool affiliated podcasts and shows and then claim it's their original idea. So this shitty radio station out of Cleveland decided that they were going to hunt down Jim Tomei and then harassed his wife, all because we know it was because of last week's stream.
Yeah.
And then they jump in, and then you just hear that, whoa, you got whoa, and stupid. I fucking hate sports radio. It's the worst. Oh God, why would you even do anything like that? Do original content, you dummies.
I know. And what were they? Do you know what their actual end goal was with trying to track him down? Like,
Oh,
what was
it was just to get him on the phone.
Oh, that's all it was.
Yeah, and then it's obviously some stupid ass intern, and then he's harassing his wife and then his kids, and then the
kid, that was the
school.
worst part. I know.
Ah,
I know.
Jesus. Yeah, you don't have a big cat to reach out. Fucking don't worry about it, dude. God, leave him alone.
Yeah, and then I was worried that his wife was going to kind of like lump in the KMS world with it.
I'm glad she didn't, because she was a really good sport last week, and I felt bad for her that these idiots out of Cleveland were doing that. So
right.
But overall, I mean, Tuesday was a really good show. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was nice to have him back because we were out without him for so much after Kirk got sick. And Kirk did say that if I felt good, you would still fucking be in the studio trying to name Jim Tomei, which I believe.
Oh, it's a fact.
And there's no way he would have got that name.
No, he's just never heard that. That name has never crossed his mind. Like, he's never seen it, heard of him, just somehow passed him by.
Which I still can't believe he's never heard of that name. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think Tomei was just too much of a regular. Like, I know who Jim Tomei is. I don't know if I would have, if you sat me down and you were like, I need you to name the top 10 home run hitters. I don't know. Like, I would eventually get to it because I know who he is. But clearly he just over his head.
Way over his over his head.
Yeah, 38 hours over his head, to be exact.
God, unbelievable. So we go on from that, and then you're like, well, how are we going to top Tuesday show? We get Mut and Blind Mike. And when they talked about it, the end of Tuesday, Kirk's like, we got Mutt coming in, and Mike, you can come in if you want. And he's like, oh, Mutt's coming in? So I'm not convinced Mike was going to come in until he heard it was Mutt.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, and then you start out, and it's Coleman and Justin dragging down the show. Everything was slow. I was convinced it was a 30-minute show.
Yep.
And Mutt literally saved the goddamn show with his notes. So thank you, Mutt.
Yeah, I thought it got real awkward for a minute there.
Really awkward.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be one of those shows, and then it completely turned around. I didn't remember that it kind of hit that patch until I did my second listen. And is that the show that Justin fell out of the chair?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And the sneaky funniest part about that was him getting back up. I almost clipped it because the fall's funny. People falling out of chairs is going to be funny 100 times out of 100. But him like putting his arm on the desk and like lifting all his weight up, that kind of gave me a chuckle too.
And then Kirk's like, go get a nice chair. Treat yourself. Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm okay. Yeah, I'll get a new chair. But I mean, that show was so slow to start, and the topics and everything was coming so slow when Kirk's like, do you guys just want to go home? He's like, I'll do the show myself. I'm like, fuck, this is going to be one of those 30-minute shows where he tells everyone to go fuck themselves. And
I was convinced. Yep.
But then he goes to Mutt, and he's like, what do you have in your notes? And then Mutt goes starts sewering Coleman. Like
he's down on Coleman, man.
he's
He
very
is
down
down
on
on
Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Besides his notes.
Well, I will say I think it's always good to shit on a producer. Like you're not really gonna get like it's not gonna go wrong if you shit on a producer. I think it's the same like kind of trope of people thought Coleman was gonna be. I don't know if smart's the word, but he kind of came in with like this. All right, I'm going to come in with I'm going to be good at technology. I'm going to be good on the stream. I'm going to have my blogs. I'm going to be a hustler. The connection to Barstool, and you saw some of that in the beginning, in a little bit of a drop off. And I think that was Mutt's point, if I had to guess.
Well, he did say that Coleman showed himself as the smart one and this and that, and then he hasn't lived up to that. And then Kirk interrupted Mutt. He's like, "Yeah, he's a fucking dummy. We all know he's a dummy." But I mean, you think rich kid that was in Jersey, went to BC, started working at Barstool. You think of him as a smart kid, which he probably is smart, but he's 24, and like 24, him being 24 now and me being 24 and I don't know what that was, like 15 years ago or whatever the hell it was, is a big difference. The world today fucking sucks. These kids are fucking dumb. So he's like literally just in the middle of being really stupid and actually having drive. So hopefully he can break out of it, which I honestly still think he's doing a good job, because
So do I.
Kirk, like a lot of people would melt with Kirk yelling at them, and he just laughs it off, which he shouldn't probably laugh all of it off, but he doesn't quit and walk out. Like he's not close to quitting. He's just taking all of the bullets.
No,
What are your
he's got a good attitude about it. He's gay, and I mean, sorry,
Wow.
he's got a good
Wow.
he's got a good attitude about it. He's trying. I think I have a thought later with the Steve show, but he's generally good at the drops. I definitely think he, for the most part, gets the show. One thing that a criticism of both him and Justin that I have is these shows when things start kind of going poorly for them and Kirk's kind of in that mood of like, what else you got? What else you got? You guys like aren't bringing anything. Then the next thing they bring up is a political story. And Kirk has not bit on a political story in weeks or months. He doesn't want to talk about it. And when you're already in the doghouse, why, when he throws you a bone to be like, what do you got? You're like, oh, I don't know. I think that like Don Lemon, it's like, dude, he doesn't want to talk about it.
No, you literally need to have 3 columns of topics. You need to have what you think and want that Kirk is going to talk about. And then you have one of, Barstool, this and that.
Mhm.
And then you have one of just Bruce Springsteen and driving across the
Your
country.
safe landing spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to have, it needs to be like 50 topics. I mean, it's not that hard. I know this. I've never produced for him. But if you're going to come up with just politics and Barstool, no, I'm not interested. And he doesn't even give it a chance. He never has. He doesn't want to talk about it. Move on.
Right.
So when he says move on, do not be like, well, I thought it was funny. Kirk doesn't give a fuck if you thought it was funny. Never has, never will. Yep. And there's something we missed out of the Monday show that you and people like you got Julie Carl fired.
Yeah, I was actually just reading her little statement before we went live. That was certainly something. She starts off by just telling us about all the sports she played as a kid as like part of like a resume. It's like me being like, oh, I played soccer growing up. Played some CYO basketball. Did some little league stuff. I should be on ESPN. It's like, what are you talking about?
Oh God, when they had the sound of her on Levitard, like I used to, this is like 20 years ago, I thought Levitard was funny and edgy, and I didn't have ESPN because I grew up with non-cable, so I would have this is really pathetic. I would have the podcast on my iPod of the Levitard and Stugott show. I'm like, God, this guy's funny. And then as I got older, I'm like, God, he's just a fucking liberal maniac. which
Yeah.
obviously is. He has Julie DiCaro on, and then he has her in her sob story. He's like, this is happening to everybody. It's not just liberals. And it's like, no, it's like you, Slate, all the people like you fucking dummy. You don't know shit. Like, you just want to talk about your feelings and like your woke politics. No one listens. You know why? Because no one fucking cares. That's
I
why you
know.
got fired for like the third time.
And
No
they
one
don't
listened.
learn. Like they don't look
No.
around and like see the landscape and see how all that stuff is crumbling. It doesn't make any sense.
Bitch, you got fired from Chicago radio during the height of the riots and COVID and DEI, and then you went to fucking Deadspin and then got fired from there. Yeah, you suck. No one gives a fuck about your shitty opinions. The sooner you get that, the better. And you were probably a shitty gymnast, like you were a shitty journalist.
Oh, I'm sure she was a fine gymnast, Sheldon.
Oh God,
Hold on, trampolinist.
which I don't even think is a goddamn word.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, like if they were playing like a slam ball with the trampoline, she'd be the ball.
Yeah.
She wouldn't actually play it. Yeah, I said that, Julie. You suck. You're never going to see this, but you still suck. So
I also don't know how many times Deadspin is going to go under. I feel like I've read this story 10 times.
I used to read Deadspin back in the day when it was Delario. It was
Yes, I
basically
don't even know what that is.
Barstool. Yeah, so he made it more like Barstool, and then they got sued for posting Hulk Hogan's dick.
Right.
And then he got fired, and then they went completely woke, and then that's where they started doing hit pieces on Barstool, and then Dave would bring up all their old articles and be like, so this isn't a problem, and then nobody would say anything because everyone hates Barstool. So yeah, they're just a bunch of fucking posers, and they've been bankrupt so many times. It's insane. So
back to more important topics. Do you think that Mutt is actually not jerking off?
Mutt's a friend, and
Mutt is a friend.
I believe he's not jerking off. I believe he just thinks about it a lot, and I think he's going back to when we were all 16 and you're sleeping very hard, and then you wake up and there's just like, oh damn, something happened in my bed. I guarantee Mutt's having wet dreams.
Well, Cullinane was also a person that was trying to not jerk off. So there's some solidarity there on their new show. So that's episode 1 right there.
Yeah, Dave's so full of shit.
Yeah.
The guy was talking about on a bachelor party, he was trying to get jerked off at an Asian massage parlor.
Yeah,
that guy can't stop touching himself
while getting shot at by a limo driver.
Fucking idiot. Yeah, so no, I believe Mutt. I believe Mutt. And
listen, I can't say a disparaging thing about Mutt. All I care about is where we're gonna go get apps. It's where my head's at.
Oh, TGI Fridays. We're going. We already got it set up. If you still have TGI Fridays.
We got a couple, I think.
No, I believe Mutt though when he says he's not watching porn, and then they brought up Sydney Sweeney. He's like, yeah, I try and scroll right past that, which you can't do.
Don't we?
So that poor guy. If he's actually holding true, God bless you, Mutt, because I was rubbing Sydney Sweeney in my wife's face tonight. And so anyways, so that was a good show. And then apparently, besides Mutt is getting paid by promoting Chat with Cat because he wouldn't stop talking about that shitty podcast at the end of the show.
Yeah, when they played that audio, I was like, this has to be a bit. Like, I think I've spaced out for a second.
I thought it was a bit, but he kept talking about it. And what was that guy's name? It was Gilroy?
I think so.
Yeah, so 2 divorced people, and they got together, and then he just kept talking about it. And Kirk's like, what do you want me to do? Fucking blow him? Yeah. God. Like, fucking Mutt. I love Mutt, but some of that shit's just infuriating. Like, I don't know what's happening. I just don't know
what's going on. He's just driving around listening to that. Like, I can't picture it.
Drive around, listen to that on his way to his gym an hour away.
Yep.
Any other thoughts from the Mut and Blind Mike show?
No, just again, Mutt's a friend. He's handsome. He's a really good job on air. I love the Mutt stack.
Great guy, great on air, great writer. Love you, Mutt. Can't wait to get apps with you. And then we'll go to Thursday. Thursday was a big day. We had the MW boys,
That's right.
Montante and Ryan Whitney at 8:00 Central Time sharp. And it was everything I dreamed of. Those two together was just insane. Montante said so many. I love Montante. He said so many dumb things. It was just unbelievable. So we can start with fuck Montante thinking zamboni drivers make $1,000 or $100,000 a year.
Well, here's my take on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody has ever looked like a zamboni driver more than Montante. He's just like, if I were to picture a fucking zamboni driver, it's just Montante's face, his fucking stupid boots, his jeans. Like he honestly should look into it. $100K a year, pay off those taxes.
Well, and then they looked it up, and I think it was like 29,000 or 39,000.
Right.
It wasn't even remotely close. And then he's like, "What, are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "People in the NHL got to make more than that." It's like, you said zamboni driver, Montante. Like, god damn it. And the other thing that came out of that show at the beginning, which is, I can't even believe this, like, with all the network drama going on, Kirk's network got Robbie V, but now Robbie V can't do a gambling show because of DraftKings partners.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. I mean, and Robbie V's show is just so good that obviously it got right up to Portnoy.
And honestly, Robbie V has better picks than 80% of the people in Barstool, which is fucking insane. So, like, he's not getting paid, and he puts a show on the YouTube that has better picks than people that are getting paid to make picks make.
It'll be interesting to see, like, if I turn on my TV one day, I see the guys in the gambling cave and Robbie V's sitting there on the couch. Nobody's gonna be happier than me.
That would be so fucking funny. That would be perfect, honestly.
He's got a steak dinner show going. I thought that I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, and I totally agree. I love that episode, probably my favorite episode of the week. I'm a huge Montante fan, huge Whitney fan. I think to start the show, Montante, I thought I was catching a little bit of nervous energy, or maybe just excited to be with Whitney, but I did think it took them a little while to kind of settle in to each other. There was a little bit of like, Montante wasn't talking into the mic. I think he was kind of turning his head, looking at Whitney, kind of trying to get his attention a little bit. So I thought there was a slight slow start as far as like those two jiving. I don't know if you caught that at all.
Yeah, I did catch that, and which is understandable. Montante is from New Jersey, last in his class, and then he's sitting in the same room with, a first round, number 6 overall NHL player. Yeah, he was probably a little nervous, or he was trying to figure out how he could ask him for gambling money.
Yeah.
So either way, but no, it was actually a good combo. I mean, I love Montante, but when Whitney goes, "I'm a Montante guy," that honestly that kind of killed me. Like,
I was jealous. Yeah.
It was unbelievable. And Montante saying, "Well, if you were a second round pick, you would have showed up 15 minutes early." That what does that? What does that mean? What does that mean?
He just wanted, like, that late thing was just a tool. Like, I feel like he wanted something so bad as like the conversation starter. He's like, when Whitney comes in here, I'm going to break his balls. I'm going to bring it up on the show. Like, I always feel like you got to look for something to kind of, test like what it's going to be like. So I think that's all he was doing with that.
He was trying a lot of things, but Whitney doesn't really play along, and him and Kirk left him hanging multiple times.
Oh yeah,
which was also good content. But
you don't think they really bid on the Oz stuff?
He brought up Oz so many times, and like, I've never seen Oz, so all I could think about was the Wizard of Oz, and then I just thought of him being a pervert with Dorothy, and it was just fucking my mind up.
I'll tell you what, I'm so pathetic that I'm definitely gonna go watch Oz now.
It's a
no-brainer.
Why you're gonna watch Oz because Montante talked about it?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my god. I would like to know what his mentors offered him for money to go back to the other network.
I heard it was $100, which is, that's a pretty penny.
Yeah, he would definitely jump at that if I know Montante.
Oh, you gotta pocket that.
And him and his goddamn Montante, You and your fucking clean work boots aggravate the shit out of me.
I love
Either
it.
don't wear work boots or get them fucking dirty because it drives me nuts.
Oh,
And
I'd
you're
be
like,
scuffing
well,
them up a little bit.
he's like, when I wear these to the work sites, I fit right in. No, you don't. They're clean. It looks like you came out of a Doc Martin fucking commercial. Oh, goddamn. I'm going to text him later and tell him to go fuck himself because he's got me so mad right now just thinking about it.
What about
Fucking
how I kind of thought it was funny how bad Whitney wanted that woman to come into the studio.
Oh my God.
He said it like 3 times. He's like, get her in here. Get it. Tell her to come in here.
Which it shows what a fan he is, that he knows Montante is just a pervert. Oh,
Yeah.
Montante would want her. Bring her back in here. Get her. Get her. And it's like, my God, this guy really does listen to this fucking show all the time. He knows what a pervert Montante is. Oh, that was so funny.
What'd you think of Kirk's V-neck?
There wasn't really a V-neck. It's like when we used to milk cows before we sold the dairy cows. I would cut the sleeves off when it was hot out, and and then it'd get hot, and then I'd rip the V-neck so I could breathe. But just living in Lexington, ripping his t-shirts, acting all cool. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Sheldon, can you even like? I was thinking about this today. Like, picture Kirk sitting at like his kitchen table with a pair of scissors, fucking cutting his shirt.
Like, he's literally at his table, like with his scissors. Like, I got to cut this V-neck out.
Yeah.
And
meanwhile, you can go to Walmart and get a pack of V-necks, like $10.
Yeah, you can, or you could just literally tear them. But he's like, and when Montante is like, well, how many times you fucked up? Oh, I fucked up a few times. Like, if you have a scissors, how do you fuck that up?
I love Whitney seeing the shirt, like his reactions. I just like his reactions in general.
It's like the day that Kirk was walking down the hall with his fucking $6 linen pants.
Oh, those are the best. I have that video saved. I just look at it sometimes when I'm feeling down.
Oh my God, because Whitney was in studio that day. He's like, oh my God, what are these pants?
He looks like Aladdin.
R.I.P. Robin Williams. But so you can picture Kirk walking down with those fucking $6 linen pants with his homemade V-neck.
Right.
And yeah, you would throw that guy in the loony bin. You would you would have to. He's
People
like
have.
A few times. Which no judgment.
No.
So I mean, it was just a great show back and forth with Whitney and Montante, and then you realize like Montante and Whitney don't want to shut up, so we gotta end the show. But your buddy Pat Ford also brought up that golf thing.
Yeah, which did you remember Whitney telling that story before he said this is an old, like something that's been brought up before? I didn't really remember it.
I do have faint memories of him bringing it up. It's because somebody called in and said it. It would have to be Ford.
It was probably that, yeah.
But I don't remember what episode that was. It was probably Dan Katz from Newton and then Ford back to back. So I blocked everything out. Or
that's actually a good point. It could have been Dan and Newton because him and Pat know each other. So he could have just known that story and called in.
Yeah. I faintly remember it being a call, but then like Ford bringing that up, and then when he's like, I talked about this, and Kirk's like, well, I don't fucking remember that. I do how many shows, which yeah, good point. But he didn't drive. Well, according to Whitney, he didn't drive on the green though. So I mean,
fringe,
which is the green. Let's be honest.
But then he made the shot after. So
if you hit a golf ball on the green, on the fringe, are you taking out a wedge or are you taking out your putter?
Yeah, you're putting it 9 times out of 10.
It's fucking green, Whitney. You should know this.
Listen, he's a big star. He can drive that cart wherever he wants.
He is a big star. He got drafted by the Penguins. I'm very impressed. I fucking work on a farm and on farm equipment all day. So he's better than me. I don't know what to tell you. Is that what you want to hear, John from Warren?
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. Say it. Tell us the story one more time. I don't think anybody knows that you work on a farm. Where do you stand on the Montante's point on the stream? Like whether Kirk premeditated it or not? Where do you land on that?
I there's no fucking way any of it was planned. It wasn't in his mind that he was going to do it if something came up. Like, he literally got mad at Coleman because this has been since he got hired that he was a giant sports fan and knew everything like that. And then when he couldn't name her, it's like, yeah, you're not fucking leaving. It had nothing to do with Clemmer. And let's be honest, it outshined Clemmer's stream.
It did. Yeah.
So
I thought the one point that Montante, I don't think he presented his argument all that well, but the one point he made that stuck with me was when he's like, Kirk, how many shows have you how many years have you been doing this? How many shows have you done? Have you ever done like a nonstop stream before? No. And you just so happen to be doing it the same day that stream's going on. Like that, it's a valid point. I still lean more with what you said, but it's a decent point.
If you listen to the stream, though, Kirk said multiple times, "Well, I hope I'm not taking away from Clemmer. Leave here and go watch Clemmer's."
I don't think so. Yeah, let me back up. I don't think he was doing it to fuck with Clemmer, but I think the general idea of a stream, whether it be on purpose or not, was probably in the back of his mind that led to, okay, well, this is turning into a stream. But I don't think he's doing it to fuck with Clemmer. I think he likes Clemmer.
I think he does too. And I mean, I think it was a coincidence and it might have been in the back of his mind, but yeah, that was organic.
Yeah,
so
no, it was organic. I totally agree with that.
He wasn't just looking for a moment to make a stream like Montante said, which it's Montante, but whatever. That was a good show. And then they had to end early because we had the unnamed podcast.
Yep.
The unnamed show. And that was something.
That was great.
So we knew Clemmer would be on, and honestly, I think blacked out for most of the Clemmer stuff because it was just Clemmer screaming at Dave, screaming at Kirk, telling Kirk to shut the fuck up. And like, I already knew all this. So I just went back and forth, back and forth. What'd you think of the interaction with Clemmer and those three?
I actually thought Dave was making valid points when he called out Clemmer for when Clemmer's on the stream. He's like, this is why I love Barstool. They let you do whatever you want. There's so much freedom here. I feel like I can be a creative. And then 10 minutes later, he's sitting on the couch with KFC and fights. And he's like, everybody's scared to make content. And when Dave laid it out like that, I'm like, wow, that's like, those two things are very contradictory. And Clemmer's like, both things can be true. Both things can be true. It's like, I don't know if necessarily those two things can be true. The one, like, you gotta, Sheldon, I don't think you and I can necessarily fault Clemmer for having a large meeting, because I mean, you and I were just in a 16-person meeting to get this show up. So I mean, the rundown takes, it's a lot of work, a lot of folks, a lot of social people, a lot of tech. So yeah, I can't say anything about that.
16 people to come up with that stream is fucking insane. It should have literally been Vibs, Clemmer, and the camera person. That was it. If you had 16 people and then that was your stream, like, what the fuck were the ideas in there that were so bad that weren't done?
Yeah,
like that is insane to me. Like, literally, you had Man versus Nature and you had Survivor Man. Survivor Man, like, Bear Grylls had a huge production team, and he went out and had, I don't know how many cameramen, and everything was staged. You had Survivor Man, which both shows sucked, but it was him and his camera, and he went out in nature and did everything by himself. That's literally what this stream should have been. You shouldn't have taken up money from anybody else, and you should just plan it in your head and shot it by yourself. But you to have 16 people to come up with you sleeping half the time, how did you think that was going to go?
And then him on the unnamed show saying he didn't realize he slept that much. Like, come on.
Well, when there's nothing to do, I guess you get sleepy. Yeah, no shit. You didn't do any of the challenges. So Vibs got mad. Is like, yeah, well, fucking quit then. Because he wasn't going to give him anymore. Because they had those lockers numbered. And then Vibs wouldn't give him the keys.
I think they number one, Clemmer should have done the challenges. It's like, dude, you literally have time to kill, so fucking just do it. I would do everything just to get the 100 hours out of the way. But the way they handled it, like there should have been more challenges. The way they handled them could have been a little bit better. I'm wondering if they just thought that the fact that he was in solitary confinement alone was going to be entertaining enough. Like I think they were kind of relying on that being like the actual entertainment value.
If you're going to stick somebody in solitary confinement with nothing to do, then you put them in an actual rubber room with nothing in there and like a rubber ball. That's it. You don't get a bathroom. You don't
Do you get an almanac?
No, you don't get an almanac. You literally get a red rubber ball. That's it. Then that's entertainment because we get to watch after like 24 hours, you literally going insane, and then you can leave. But like that wasn't entertainment. You either got to break them or you have to have them do challenges to win something for that room. It's not that hard. There's literally just 2 of us right now. We've came up with way better ideas than 16 people. And we're not getting paid for it.
You're not getting paid? Did you find any of Clemmer's arguments? Do you think they hit at all?
No, I didn't, honestly.
Yeah.
Because when I saw him on KFC, which I didn't watch, I saw the clips.
I saw the clip too.
I watch clips. I don't watch whole shows. Sorry. You know who you are. But like when he's like, well, we're a rudderless ship and people are scared to make content. Just go make content. You don't need permission. You can go make content. And if it's good, it'll go out there and people will promote it. But you don't need 16 people to come up with that. It's not that hard to figure out.
Yeah, I think he'd take back a lot of those statements if he could. I thought it was I'm surprised KFC and Feidelberg almost didn't attack him a little bit more. Not that that's their nature, but it's kind of ballsy to sit on a podcast with those 2 guys and say A, it's a rudderless ship with no leadership because KFC is supposed to sort of be the leader. And then B, say, no one's making content. People are afraid to make content. And meanwhile, Feidelberg has been doing that Out of Order show that's actually pretty good and has been doing well, I think, like reception wise and viewership wise. So it's funny for him to sit there and say that to those 2 guys. Like that's kind of a ballsy thing, or he just wasn't really thinking.
Well, he said that, but you would expect one of those 2 to say something back. But fucking KFC, like the stooge he is, just sat there and is like,
he was like, yeah, good point.
Yep, good point. It's like, you fucking idiot. Like he's just as big of a piece of shit. He
Dude,
might
speaking of KFC
might be the biggest piece of shit in the New York office, honestly.
I'll say this. He's been awfully quiet on this Kevin Connolly situation. That's all I'm saying.
When I saw a random tweet, it wasn't from anyone I know, that showed his interview with Kevin Connolly, that was the best interview he's ever done.
Yep.
That was very, very telling. So I like honestly, I never watch Entourage or know what it is, but when Jerry came on, because I'm Jerry, like from Surviving Barstool, and he was yelling at Whitney about what a piece of shit Kevin Connolly was, I'm like, what is going on? Like I felt like Whitney in that situation. I'm just like, I don't know what I did. Like, what is happening right now? And then Whitney was flabbergasted, and then Portnoy and Kirk tried to fucking gaslight Whitney the whole time. Like, yeah, Whitney knew about this. He was laughing at you.
Oh, they were laughing. They were driving that car. They were hitting balls. They were laughing at you, Jerry. I think it's kind of cool that Jerry was right at the end of the Unnamed show, right? Like they almost didn't even bring him on and think about what it turned into.
Because it went Clemmer, then Dante, fucking Dante, which
dude,
you fucking idiot. Just say that your buddy runs the fucking hotel. Don't be like, well, I think it's a good place. I don't give a flying fuck about a random Holiday or Marriott or Super 8. I don't give a shit. I wouldn't defend them like you did a random hotel. Just say your buddy runs it, you dumb shit. Like, that was so stupid. I don't even know what he was doing. And he brought nothing to the show.
Nothing. Then, he was dead.
And then Kirk's like, get him the fuck out of here. And then they did.
They were throwing it to him like, Dante, what do you have to say? And he was sitting in his car, number one, which I kind of hate. And then he just stares at the camera like this. It's like, you're on a show. You're going to say something.
Yeah, just say your buddy runs it. you fucking idiot. I'm like, no, I just thought it was over the line. It's just a hotel. It's a fucking Marriott, Dante. Like, I wouldn't go to bat for a fucking random hotel chain if I didn't have any involvement.
Right.
Yeah. He was honestly the worst part of that show. He was like Keegs talking about that fucking owl, or Gia dressing like Kevin Smith. Irrelevant.
I actually forgot about the Dante part until you just brought it up. I wanted, when Whitney was like, "Oh, I'm gonna call Biz right now and see what he wants to do as far as like taking the sandbagger down."
Yeah,
I wanted Biz to pick up the phone so bad. I was like, I was so let down when he didn't. And that shows like kind of a look into Whitney's character, to be like, I'll call Biz right now, or like I'll consider taking it down. He's like not afraid to, do something like that. And I'm sure there's advertisers involved. I'm sure he had a pretty good relationship with Kevin Connolly. They were laughing it up like schoolgirls in the cart. So, I don't know, stand-up guy, Whitney.
So the show went clamor to Dante being fucking terrible. And yeah, Dante, I know you have a go bag. My go bag's way bigger. So if you hear this, go fuck yourself. I'm not scared of you. And then it went to like, you got anything else, boys? And then they were thinking, and Portnoy was like, oh yeah, I got something. Jerry's got a problem with you, Whitney. So like we almost missed that, which was the best part of the show, to be honest with you.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Yep. It was better than the Clemmer stuff.
Oh yeah, it was better than all of it. And then Jerry honestly, his math had me fucked up. So I don't know if the Kevin Connolly owed him $50K, $35K,
39.5, I think.
I don't even fucking know. But I just realized, because I trust Jersey Jerry, that Kevin Connolly is a fucking scumbag.
Well,
and he was very upset about it. So now Whitney was texting the whole time. So Whitney's a stand-up guy, but I would think that Whitney and Biz are really close. So did he think that they were going to ask him to call Biz? And then when he was texting Biz about it, did he say like, I'm going to call you, don't pick up?
Oh, no, I think Whitney likes stuff playing out on air. I think Whitney would have liked Biz to pick up the phone in that spot. I think.
I think Biz is Canadian, so he's probably still fucking sleeping. So who knows? But I mean, I wish he would have picked up, because that would have been great, having Kirk.
It seems like they're taking it down. Did you see that?
Yeah, they did take it down.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's taken down. So I didn't watch it yet, because like I said, I don't know who Kevin Connolly is. Like the only Connolly I know is like Mike Connolly, and he was an NBA player. Might still be. I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I know Kevin Connolly, to me, I've seen him in, I think, one movie, and then I know him from Entourage. He's one of these guys where you play a character and then you kind of assume that as your personality trait. I always thought that about him. And so his character's name was E on Entourage, and every time I've seen him, like, I don't know, as like his actual person, he seems like he's kind of taken that E persona. I never really liked him.
So it's like if I watch Kiefer Sutherland, where they're going to think he's like the president of the United States, or fighting for the president, something like that.
You know what? Something like that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no comparison. I haven't seen a lot of shows. They're probably not out here yet, because I live in North Dakota. You might know.
Yeah, I think Oz is hitting you guys next month. So you might
honestly, I don't even know what that show is. And he brought it up so many times it aggravated me, and I still didn't look it up just to spite him. Anyways, so no, Thursday was a great show. So we had the regular KMS. We went into the unnamed show. It was a great full day of content. So we had to look forward to the last show of the week, which was today. And I'm assuming your favorite producer was the guest. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. He is my all-time favorite producer. I would follow Big Steve Robinson to the gates of hell. I love that man. Shaking his hand in Plymouth was a highlight of my life. And so I was excited. I thought it would have been cool to have Mike there with him, but you got some classic Steve today. I mean, the show started and all I heard was Steve's laugh, and I was like, oh, here he is. Here's my guy. I can't
hate Steve. Like, Steve was literally the first person of the show when I started listening. When I found Kirk and everything, like Steve was the first producer, and like I was here from the beginning, and it was different because Blind Mike wasn't even there. And I like Steve. I like Steve on the show. I did like Steve on the show, and he gave us some of the greatest moments, which was him not cutting up the Red Sox audio.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was my first ever appearance on the show when they called me. And I was literally taking a piss before work, and I'm like, holy shit, who the hell's calling me? And it was like, yeah, he should have cut that up, and he didn't. So, I mean, that was a great show, and him resigning that day was just like a bombshell. Like,
Oh, I still remember where I was.
so do I. It was so fucked up. So, like, Steve will always have a place with me. It was great, but him being a giant cheap fuck and trying to throw Milton's under the bus today.
Oh, that was tough.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was tough. Like, yeah, I called the fucking Burlington Mall and they wouldn't let me park overnight. And I'm like, do you know Bill from Milton's? Like, you fucking asshole. You're throwing Milton's under the bus because you couldn't park your fucking spray painted van at the Burlington Mall overnight. Oh, that was unbelievable.
Such a Steve move. Are you surprised that Kirk didn't go at him more for that?
Yes, I am surprised because if it was anybody else, they would have murdered them.
So he totally agree.
He kind of said that in passing, and then Justin and him stopped, but they didn't murder him. But the more he talked, the more they should have murdered him. Like, because he was like convinced that it was Bill's fault, but he didn't call Bill. He called the fucking security guard from the Burlington Mall,
who probably doesn't even know who Bill is, and there's zero chance they called Bill.
Was the Burlington Mall fucking 2 stores? Yeah, no shit, he doesn't know Bill from Milton's. Like, what the fuck? That was unbelievable to me.
Yeah. I can't believe and then it was like, I can't remember if it was 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after they did the Milton read too.
Yeah, they did. But it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Because you couldn't park your fucking van in the parking lot of the Burlington Mall. That's Bill's fault. Because he literally said, like, I'm down on Bill from Milton.
Yeah, that's when I like audibly gasped. And then Justin was like, he's like, I'll take you off air right now.
And it was over that. That was unfucking believable. Oh my God.
There was a sneaky other comment that he made that that you could say shows how cheap he is, because the producer boys, one of them was like, oh, I went to Wendy's. The other one said I got buffalo mac and cheese next door. Obviously, those are just like little cheap eats. And Steve's like, how much are you paying these guys so they can get Wendy's and buffalo mac and cheese?
Yeah, and literally Coleman's like, no, they're running a special. I can get a Dave's double for $2. And Steve's like, how much you paying these guys? And it's like, are you fucking serious? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Quick reminder.
So we had the weigh-in today.
We did.
Honestly, I did not think Justin weighed that much.
No, he wears it surprisingly well. One comment that I thought was fucking hilarious is Kirk's like, oh, so we've got 612 pounds back there, and Justin goes, yeah, 612 after the piss and throw up.
And he's like, you threw up? And he's like, Kirk, I drank a gallon of water. So Justin literally went to the bathroom in the middle of the show, took a piss, and then threw up.
It threw up. Yeah.
Oh God.
So who do you got winning that?
I got Coleman winning.
Do you? Okay. I'm glad you said that, because I actually have Justin winning, and I'll tell you why. I think that Coleman, I think he's a huge snacker at night. I think he's a huge like fast food at night. And I know you're gonna try to cut it out, but he will cheat. I think it's gonna be late. He's gonna go for that Wendy's or that Big Mac. I can see that happening. And I think Justin could get hyper focused on certain things, and this might be one of them. Plus, the man's 100 days no soda. No small task.
Yeah, but he's still drinking booze. So you can't say you cut out soda, but like you're still drinking booze and count that as a win. Like, I that's something I would say. Like, tell my wife, like, yeah, I'm on a diet. I stopped drinking soda, but I'm on my 8th rum tonight. Doesn't really count. So, I mean, yeah, congratulations. So My guy Coleman, he just needs to cut out the shit, and then if you're gonna drink booze, stay off the weed so you don't fucking eat.
Yeah, that's a
And
problem.
then you need to just hit tequila because that's less calories. So I've heard.
He claims he's trying to work out, so that should do something for him.
Well, no, he can't lift weights, so you don't want to build mass. You
That's
want
true.
to lose mass. So Coleman, if you're gonna work out, hit the treadmill or the bike or the ropes, whatever you guys do. I don't know.
Coleman saying the word smexy today,
That fucked me up.
I wanted to find a bridge and just jump off of it immediately.
I think the last rundown, I threatened to fly out there and beat him to death with a bat with a Jim Tomei jersey. When he said smexy, I was so close to fucking doing it. I'm like, what the fuck is smexy?
But it's kind of funny because unless he's completely out of his mind, he knows that no one's going to accept smexy. Kirk's going to call him out for it. So like, I almost look at it going like, okay, it's kind of funny as a bit if that's what he's doing.
But I don't think it was a bit. That was the thing.
Yeah, I think he probably just says that in his normal life. I love Coleman. I can't help it.
Yeah, I do too. So we went through all the shows. So rate your top 4 third chairs of the week. You don't get to count Whitney. You don't get to count Blind Mike.
Wow. I'm going Montante, Big Steve from Gloucester. Am I missing anybody?
Yeah, you definitely are.
Oh my God, no. Listen, he's so high up. He's so high up. It's not even fun. Like the way you said, "Oh, you can't count Blind Mike." That's how I look at Mutt. Like he's not a third chair. He's a friend. So okay,
redo it.
Oh man,
we won't clip this at all.
All right. So as I was saying, Mutt, friend, handsome. Let's go Mutt. Let's go Montante. Big Steve, which is surprising because I love Big Steve, and Steve from Gloucester. By the way, Steve from Gloucester, great guy, but sorry, buddy, you got kind of railroaded this week.
So 1A and 1B are Mut and Montante. 2 is Steve from Gloucester, and then 3 is Big Steve. Just because him being cheap and trying to fucking throw Milton's under the bus really rubbed me the wrong way. And you can go back and watch the videos from K season 1. The way he tries to climb a fucking gate.
I love that video.
No. You fucking wear out the hinges. Do you people not know how to drive or how to climb up gates? You go to where the hinges are. You don't go into the middle because then everything sags. And then guess what? You got to tighten up the fucking hinges. Everyone fucking knows that. So that fucking it's like burned in my brain. Like, okay, we're not going to talk about it anymore. It's actually got me flustered. Thanks, John, for Warren. You happy?
The most Steve thing said today was are you the CEO of the Main Wire? And he just very like dryly says, no, it's a nonprofit organization. It's a 501(c)(3) Main Policy Institute.
It's like he's been like pulled over and interrogated. And he's like, no, it's any random. It's like, who the fuck would know that?
501(c)(3) Main Policy Institute. Like I was like,
yeah, that was
never change, Robinson.
No, that was literally the most Steve thing that could ever happen. So as we wrap up this episode of the Rundown, which me and you have done multiple times, us, nobody else. Better rapper, Turtle Boy or Coleman?
I still think that they glazed over that Turtle Boy. Like that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like it's absolutely nuts. Outside of that, if you think I wasn't on Google today typing in every combination of Jack Coleman plus SoundCloud, you're out of your mind. I was digging, man. I was trying.
Well, Steve gave him terrible words to rap with. If I remember, it was Haitian rape, and what was the other one? Was it
immigration?
Oh, great. Fucking whatever. What do you rap with that? Like those are I don't know what you do with that. And then that Turtle Boy rap was just fucking god awful. And honestly, I still don't understand the Karen Reed case. Never will. Don't care.
No,
just want it to be over with at this point.
I think part of the reason I don't get it is because I'm getting my information from Dave Cullinane. So it's
Which is
never gonna.
so everyone out there, if you're actually still listening to this show, Dave Cullinane can't explain it. He does it on TikTok really fast for clicks because he doesn't care about the victims.
Mhm.
If you want to actually get a really bare bones rundown, go to Barstool and read Jerry Thornton. That's the most I've ever understood about that case. And Dave
Yeah, I
won't
didn't read
hear
that blog.
this.
I'll have to do that.
Oh, do it. You'll actually understand it way more than Dave Cullinane explaining it.
I was gonna ask you not to change subject so sharply there, but I was gonna say in lieu of like just random notes at the end, is there anything you want to say about Mayo this week?
No, no, I'm good with mail this week.
Okay, all right.
I'll give you
Just
a
making
pass.
sure.
I'll give
Just
you a
making
pass
sure.
now. Somebody wanted me to kill him, and then someone wanted him to kill me. And then there was a tweet that he was going to send me a death threat. And literally the last video I sent him was a video of me feeding my pet cow to send to his kids. So no, we're good. We're good. Mayo, you're good for this week. We're good.
My only show note would be it's too bad Ziggy's not here because we could have put a bowl of chicken nuggets in front of him and see if he ate it.
Oh, Steve's dog. Yeah, I've heard of Steve's dog. That's a real thing. Yeah, I would have liked to do that.
Yeah.
I imagine like Steve's dog, Ziggy Robinson. He probably doesn't like chicken nuggets like from McDonald's, but I bet if we went to Chick-fil-A, I bet he would eat those. So
I would get down on all fours and eat Chick-fil-A.
so
I
if
fucking love Chick-fil-A. You guys have those out there?
yeah, we have two. And honestly, when the one opened up in Bismarck, it was like around the block for about a month and a half. Like you couldn't even drive on the street. So
Yeah.
But I'm not rich, so I can't eat there every day because Biden's economy and stuff like that.
Well, dude, I'm sure you have chicken, so
No, not yet. We're not going to talk about that because my wife's going to bring this up. Thanks a lot, dickhead. So, another week we made it. And do you have any other final notes?
no, that's all I got. I was happy to do the show with you, Sheldon. I know in the chat you said you were gonna start looking for apartments out here in Warren so we can move in together. I think after the show, that's a definite.
Honestly, I wish we had more time. Red from Maine, my apologies. We ran out of time. So better luck next time. Thank you.
All righty.